and you start explaining to me like, hey, have you seen the new Batman?
Anybody can go buy, you know, whatever they want off the car dealership, and they're gonna drive it home, and half the people don't even know what they bought.
Everybody always wants to know is how much was it? Because originally you started out as Rodney, the guy that called me and wanted me to build him a Batmobile. And then it's been over a year now, right?
Almost 2. Right?
Almost 2 years. So now you are Rodney, my friend, which is really cool. So one of the things that we're gonna start doing is really getting an opportunity to talk to people about what it means to do what you did to your car, like that level of customization that you did. But really the coolest part is like, what's it like on a daily, right? So this morning we worked out together.
Yeah.
And after we leave the gym, I get this text message. And I mean, it's probably like the 4th time I've gotten this text message. But the text message is, there was a whole group of people standing around my car, right?
Yeah.
So you called us about 2 years ago. How'd you find us?
My son actually found you guys from doing the Darth Vader challenge on YouTube.
So I had another client call me earlier in the week. He said the exact same thing. Came in with an M8. He was like, I was just seeing what you guys did to another one, and a buddy of mine told me you were right down the street. So I don't know if I've ever told you this before, but like the way our conversation went, I was in my office and I'm like, this guy is never gonna do anything. So I call you and I'm like, okay, what do you want to do? And you start explaining to me like, hey, have you seen the new Batman?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I have not seen the new Batman, right? And you're like, you got to check it out. It's a great movie. I want to build a Batmobile. And I'm like, oh, great, another one. So, all right, cool. Let's build you a Batmobile. All right, so let me give you a number. And what was? Do you remember how much the first build was?
15.
Are you allowed to say this? Is your wife going to see this video?
$15,000.
$15,000, right? So the first build, if you go back on the YouTube channel, you can see like the first iteration of what we did to the red eye. So you have a 22 Dodge Challenger red eye, non-wide body. That was the way it came from the factory, right? So first iteration, you can go back to the YouTube channel and see what it looks like. And I mean, it was cool, right? It was really cool. We did a ton of stuff to it. When we did that first car, we matted the whole thing out. We did custom headlights in it. We did the Starlight headliner in it. We lowered it, custom calipers, custom badges. And I think that's pretty much it, right? Am I missing anything?
Plastic.
Oh, that's right. We did a body kit on it. We did the Wickerbill spoiler on it. Yeah. Eric, you worked on it. What else did we do on that thing? Oh, the louvers. Only louvers I've ever liked. Again, go back and take a look at that YouTube video. Those louvers on that car are the only ones that have ever made sense to me. They look fantastic on that car. And we had an idea. We were going to try and do some like old school rally car style wheels that were like forced air induction wheels from a guy that was going to design them in like Switzerland or something like that never ended up happening. But when we did that first one, what kind of reaction were you getting to it?
Loved it.
Yeah?
I loved it. Everybody loved it.
So like any weird stories? No one stopped you at a gas station for 45 minutes and wanted to talk to you about it forever?
They've asked if it's a show car. They've asked if the car's been in movies. They asked if it's bulletproof. They asked if I'm in the military.
I love it. You got to be in the military, right? The one that I love is you just said, is it in the movies? Ironically, like 2 weeks later, you sent me a video where you were in like a full little mini film, right? So he had a videographer approach him, and the videographer came out and he was like, hey, how did that go? He met you in the gym or something?
I was wearing a Batman weightlifting belt at a local gym in Orlando, and the guy came up and shook my hand, which is rare.
Yeah.
He just said, I love your car. Is that your car out there? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, I'm a young LA rep. We were wanting to do, I do a Bruce Wayne themed character for my brand, and he said, "Can we use your car?" And I said,
cool.
You know what? Sure.
He did a good job. The video looked really good.
They did a really good job.
There was like smoke effects and it was shot really well.
Three young guys.
It was cool. So then you had the car for like 18 months.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for you, we became friends. And then I'm like constantly sitting here telling you like of all of these things that we could do next. And I mean, what now, 3 months ago?
Yeah. Well, the wide body kit was always on the back burner. The wheels were always on the back burner. Yep. And we're like, let's just get it done.
I mean, then we take the car, and the car was really cool originally.
Yeah.
But then a full clinched wide body kit all the way around, custom painted, the Rotiform 3-piece wheels.
Yep.
The air suspension. What we went with Airlift?
Yeah.
Full Airlift. Which version is it? Or V2 or V3? 3P, right? We did the Airlift 3P system on it. Then we Easter egged a million different things in it, right?
Yep.
So one of my favorite things, just because, I think it was probably just because it was my idea, but the belts, the seat belts. So the little belts to be able to hold the air tank in there. So you told me you had those belts when you were a kid?
It was on my pajamas.
I love it. Is that where those belts came from? They were pajama belts.
They were the Batman pajamas.
So they were so perfect because they were belts that were small enough, but the buckle is a seat belt.
Yep.
So it was like, oh, this theme's perfect.
Ironically, more people like that when they pop the trunk.
Yeah. And then, I mean, what else? We, new custom badges.
Badges, wheels,
tires. We redid the rear louver.
Calipers.
Yeah, that's right. We changed the calipers again. So talk to me about like the difference. Are you getting more of a reaction now?
Yes.
And like what's it like now in comparison to before?
Honestly, people really love the wide body kit.
Yeah.
They love the way it looks. They love the air suspension. They love the wheels.
Yeah.
They love the tires.
Yeah. So I got to give these guys some credit. So one of the things that they did was we were sitting there and so the clinched wide body kit, it actually has the exposed rivets on it.
Yeah.
And we knew we didn't want to do the chrome ones that they send. And was it you or Matt that said we got to do them anodized? So Matt came up and was like, we got to do them in an anodized red. And that anodized red, we ran that theme in the wheels and in the rear louver, and I mean, it looks really good.
It flows perfect.
In the calipers.
The calipers, yeah, it completely matches and flows perfect.
Yeah, it came out really, really nice.
When people get close to the car, they like the detail. You see the car and it looks cool, but when you actually look at every little thing done to it, it's a very detailed project.
Here's another one that I get all the time. Talk to me about the Airlift suspension.
People love that.
It's the coolest part, right?
Yeah, the kids love that. The guys at the Valley at Dr. Phillips loved it, and they displayed it for the Batman Orchestra.
That was something else. So what ended up happening there?
That was definitely a fan favorite.
Yeah.
People were just standing out watching that.
You have a friend that was performing there, or what was it?
Just a mutual friend that does events for Dr. Phillips and other places in Florida and around the country made a suggestion about the car.
Yep.
Dr. Phillips contacted me and they said, hey, we'll comp your tickets if you'll just let us present the car.
Yep.
And we parked the car a couple hours before the event and everyone's got to take photos, put the Batman mask that you gave me in the front.
Yeah.
And it was a total hit.
One of the things that I love about you in general is that you just own it, right? Like one of the things that I did is after we did the car, you know, I wanted to give you a gift. So I went out and I got you a Batman cowl, right? Now I expect like at least once a month to see a picture of you wearing the Batman cowl and you never fail.
No, I
appreciate it. You have a full Batman suit.
Correct.
Right? I think today you were wearing a Batman hoodie.
Correct.
Right? I love the fact that you own it. I would say if you're somebody that's at home and you're watching this and you're like, you know, how do I know if this is something that's right for me? Look, if you're driving down the road and you have a sticker on your car and it's whatever you're into, if you can do it, if you can afford to do it, right, you should do it. So one of the comments that you make to me most frequently is, and again, it's something I love. You say, when I told them I wanted to do this, they laughed at me.
Oh yeah.
And then I did it, and now they all want to know if they can take pictures.
Yeah.
Right? What does that feel like?
Well, it's one of those feelings, like you know in the back of your head you have a good idea, you know you're going to take a percentage of a little bit of hate or whatever you want to call that. But once it goes live, people's reactions is they love the car.
They love it,
it's
right?
a positive thing for the community.
Yeah. Practicality with the air ride suspension. So I remember I was at your house one night and we were leaving and you were like, hey, do you want to drive the car? And I've gotten to drive a bunch of Hellcats. So I was like, not really, but whatever. All right, I'll drive it. And I remember pulling out of your driveway and it's scraping. And I don't know if you remember my face, but I was like, oh my God, that's not supposed to be like that, right?
Yeah.
The practicality of the air ride suspension, has it improved the overall ownership of the car?
Yeah, especially driving around Florida with so much, like just be able to hit the button, lift the car and not worry about scraping or backing up. It's definitely.
What about ride quality when you're just in a normal driving mode? Is it weird? Is it different?
No.
Yeah.
Car drives better.
Yeah. I mean,
with the tires.
You have 345s on the rear of your car. Like for most people, you have no idea how wide a 345 tire is, but it is exceptionally wide. It is really wide.
It's humongous.
What's your favorite part of the car?
I like the whole package, I guess. The Airlift.
Yeah, it's cool.
Probably the wide body kit, because I wanted that to begin with.
Yeah. So, and here's another one. The wheels are amazing.
The kids love the Starry Night with the bat symbol.
That's cool, but those are kids. They're easy to appeal to, right? The wheels, oh my gosh.
The wheels are definitely, people stop and ask about the wheels. Everybody likes those wheels.
The coolest thing about those wheels is you can't really see the rivets in it until you kind of get yourself in the right position and look, and then you're like, oh my gosh, there's anodized red rivets, and oh my gosh, they match everything else. And
again, the person that stops to look at the car or talk to me, that's when they appreciate the detail that you guys did to it.
Yeah, so cool. I keep expecting it to get boring.
No.
I pull in the morning, and I'm like, all right, is Rodney here? And then I see it, and I always stop for a second. I'm like, still looks really good. I like timeless.
Yeah, it's not.
Really good.
It's not going to age.
Yeah, agreed. So the first time we did the car, it was $15,000. Here's the other one that everybody always wants to know is how much was it? So the second iteration, how much was it? You can pick a number. I'll just say yes to whatever it was.
I think it was around 30.
It was around $30,000, right? So now what you did is you took a six-figure car, you did $15,000 worth of customization to it, and then you did $30,000 worth of customization to it. So some people would look and say, well, wait a minute, you spent $145,000 on that car. Look at all of the other cars you could have gotten for $145,000, right?
And a lot of people said that.
I'm sure. What would you say to them, or what do you say to them when you're like, yes, I could have, but what's your but? What's your why?
Being original.
Okay, that's cool.
Having a one of one.
That's cool.
Something that you kind of came up with and a group put it together. Anybody can go buy, whatever they want off the car dealership, and they're going to drive it home, and half the people don't even know what they bought.
So before you walked in, I was talking to Marcos, and I was like, when I look at a car, one of the things that helps me with my how awesome is it scale is how rare is it, right? And the RS6 Avant, we were having this conversation okay, RS6 Avant or RS7, and to me, an RS6 Avant would be a cooler car because no one has those.
Nobody has it.
Right? To me, that is the exact case with the Batmobile.
Yeah.
Right? You could have a Lamborghini, right? You could have a car that was you could have the Ferrari sitting behind me that's twice as expensive as that car, and no offense to the Ferrari owner, but there are a lot more people taking pictures and breaking their neck in traffic to look at that car than there are the Ferrari that's behind me.
People stop, they're filming the car while I'm driving. It gets attention everywhere.
Yeah.
All ages.
So I was originally asking you, so you own your own business. So here's another one, and I don't think people understand. When you own your own business, one of the biggest challenges is having an icebreaker just to start telling people a little bit about what you do. And has that car made you any money?
It's the ultimate icebreaker.
It is, right?
Yeah. Especially when you're running appointments and everybody likes Dodge.
No.
They like American Muscle.
Nope.
Most people I would think like Batman.
Nope. Nope. if they have any sense at all,
And
right?
it just shows like, okay, well, this is something pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And the crazy thing, you don't even take it to car shows.
No, I've done maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Ironically, the few car shows I've went to, that has brought more attention than the person's, you know, Ferrari or Porsche because of the originality of it.
Yeah, agreed.
And they ask where I got it done.
Agreed.
They like the work. They like all the detail.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to us, that's one of the biggest things, man, is like, you know, I always tell a client when they come in, I'm not building me a car. I'm trying to figure out how to build you a car. So you asked me if I'd ever seen that original Batman movie. I had never seen it. I literally went home to watch it. And it's long, dude. That's a 3-hour plus long movie. Like, have you guys seen this movie? Right? It's a commitment. It's long. So I went home and I watched it. I think I went to bed at midnight. I made my wife watch it. She doesn't like it. No, I'm kidding. No, but we sat up all night and watched the movie, and I'm sitting there trying to figure out, like, if you've never seen the movie, maybe we can put a clip in it if we don't get copyrighted or whatever. But, you know, I did some research on it. None of that car is a Dodge other than the pillars up, the roof. The rest of it was all a completely custom body. It actually had a 6-inch lift on it, and it's in 40-inch tires.
Yeah.
So it's like, when you look at it, I'm like, so does this guy really want me to lift his 6-figure red eye and put it on 40s? Like, how do I create that vibe and accomplish what we want to accomplish, but not completely destroy an awesome car? I didn't think you were serious, because we had a single phone conversation and you were like, okay, let's do it. And I'm like, okay, I'll send you an invoice. And and then, like, you called back. So I want to say, first and foremost, thank you, right? Cars are not yours, right? Some people, and if you're watching this and you're like, wait a minute, that's my car. If you're watching this and you just use your car to get from your office home or to the grocery store or whatever, you know, I am shocked that you are still watching this video, because this probably isn't your normal content. But if you're watching this, you have an appreciation for cars, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that I love is people that are willing to be bold with something that's expensive and say, you know what, I want to create something because I don't just want to have what everybody else has.
Yep.
And then to share it.
That's the point of it.
That's the coolest part, to put it out there and share it. It gives us an opportunity to be creative. It gives us an opportunity to create something for you. And then the best part is, you know, what we create for you, you go out and you share it. And it's really cool.
Yeah. And ironically, when you say thank you guys, because I went to 2 other companies in Central Florida and basically got laughed at.
Yeah.
With the same request.
Yeah, well.
Before I was referred to your company.
I hope everybody that gets to see this car, like, I guarantee, you know, I had one person while it was here that said, oh, it's hideous and it's ugly. That's cool, right? You're allowed to not like it. That's fine.
There's always the 1 or 2%.
And that's fine, right? But I can't look at somebody else's build and not see what they were trying for, right? And see the work that went into it. I hope as you guys get an opportunity to look over the car and watch the video, that you can see what we were going for. And the big thing is, you know, we have a number of videos on our YouTube channel. You know, some of these videos, we've got one that's got 6 million views and hundreds of comments, right?
Yeah.
We appreciate these comments. Comment, let us know what you think of the build, what you would have done differently, what you'd like to see. You know, these things are great. I noticed this morning, I put my SEMA hat on from 22, right? We go to these events because it gives us inspiration. So when we get an awesome opportunity like you, we're prepared for it.
Well, like we were talking about one day, every idea comes from another person.
That's exactly right.
So.
Exactly right. So if you enjoyed this segment, I would highly recommend, you know, subscribe to the channel, make sure and turn the notifications on. This is a segment that we're going to start doing more frequently for 2 reasons. Number one, a lot of people don't know the extent that we go to.
It's a lot.
It is. And, you know, there's a lot of people that are considering it. You know, I have another person. Do you remember the Lexus ES350 build that we did? So this poor guy, he did a ton of work. It looks amazing. He scrapes everywhere he goes. Everywhere.
Airlift would help.
Everywhere. And I've told him, hey, look, we can put an airlift suspension on it, but when you've never done something like that before, they just don't know, you know, what all it's going to involve and what it's going to be like. So, you know, hopefully people that are watching this and hearing this, they're realizing like, you know, hey, this is information that I want to use. So, dude, I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
Now it's time to go get some dinner, right? Let's do it. All right, man, thank you again. For more information, just stick around, follow us, push buttons. We'll be back for more from Empire Auto.